Can you hear us? Hear me? Hold on. Yes, can you hear me? All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me, Paul. Let's say you have a sense of the depth of clarity. Now, we would just like to add on to that a warning that that depth of clarity is going to be claimed by what you're not. Yeah, so just, it has nothing to do with seeking or not seeking the depth of clarity or experiencing it or not. It's an activity that goes on and it's not based on your volition. So when you decide not to do it, it keeps doing it. Yeah, because it has nothing to do with you. It's a mental activity. It's almost like a spring that gets sprung when there's it's brought into attention or into cognition of something going on. So there's a thought's depth of clarity. That head will say it's you that's having the depth of clarity. So now that you having the depth of clarity may be a very clear you, but you're not clear about the claiming of the depth of clarity. So the clarity we're speaking about is not after you, it's before you. Yeah, it's not you arriving at it and now having a depth of clarity. It's you as the clarity before. Yeah, so when it was shown in my own whatever, it became obvious that if you don't see it, you're going to be looking from it. Yeah. So if you don't see this add-on to whatever's going on with you, or just with whatever, of course, the language constantly reinforces the sense of you. But what's ever going on, it's going to arise on a good day or a bad day. It's just going to claim. Yeah, there was a famous teacher in Tibetan Buddhism, Trungpa Rinpoche. He wrote a book, Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism. And on the first page, it talks about first, you got to be clear that he called it an ego. I don't like that term, but the ego is going to take advantage of anything it's brought into contact with. Yes, this has no volition on our part. There's no volition on your part. You can take a vow not to do it and it will do it. Yeah. Now, will it complete the mission? It can't without you. But when it arises, it basically says the mission has already been completed. Yeah. So it's not like you're going to become the one who had the depth of clarity. There's going to be a historical one who had the depth of clarity. Yes. So that historical one who now has the depth of clarity is going to be a huge obscuring of the clarity it's now claimed. Yeah. This is just the presentation. Just see it. If it fits, wear it. Yeah. If it doesn't fit, do whatever you're doing. And then it's probably going to lead you to this little shoe store. And hopefully you'll try the same pair, even though you think you know it. You'll try them on and maybe they'll fit this time. Yeah, it's just inevitable because it's an activity that's not under your control. It happens. Yes. Yeah. The mental reaction to existence, and the experience of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, thinking, doing, is that there's a doer. Yeah. So whatever it is, yeah, depth of clarity will be seen that you did something to have the depth of clarity. It's just, this is what it does. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that you can put yourself under that will bring you to incredible aspects that are already available now. But it would be important to have these little warnings with you because something's going to occur. It doesn't matter if it's in the crack house or the temple. There's going to be a claiming of you. Yeah, that's all. And this, we're under this trance of volition. Yeah. So when every time we hear this, we think we're doing it. So when people would call me after hearing the presentation of selfing, they would call me and, oh, I've been selfing all day, Paul, or selfing's driving me crazy. They were not knowing it, they were illustrating exactly what we're pointing at. Yeah. So there was a seeing, there was a hearing about selfing, and there was a claiming of the hearing about selfing. And now there was Paul or Steve that now believed he was doing the selfing, or the selfing was driving Paul or Steve crazy. You see it? If you see it, you'll see it. Yeah. If you can understand it, you'll see it in action. Obviously, seeing it in action, which is our temporary, state, isn't working. Yeah. We're not seeing, we're seeing it in action, and there seems to be a swallowing of what it's implying. Yeah. So we're gonna bypass that for a second and have an understanding. So when the seeing just goes into the habit of I'm the seer, yeah, there'll be like a manufactured pause, and then the seeing can be free of the seer. Yes. And then there'll be seeing of the manufacturing of the seer. You see, instead of the seeing gets captured by the seer, you'll see the seer, the act of seer. There is no seer. You'll see the act of implying a seer from the seeing. Yeah, that's what an understanding can help you with, because obviously you are the seeing, and therefore you have the ability to see this mental activity. But in most cases, we're not. Yeah. So let's go to the next card, which is understanding. So understanding the warnings of how the mental state works. Yeah. It has to have time to work, because it is a process full of processes, and processes need time, obviously. We are not of time. If you believe certain people like Jesus Christ, yeah, you're not of time. Okay. So you're before the manufacturing of something in time. Yeah, let's say that's the scene. And then what's being manufactured is in time is to evade the fact of seeing and emphasize the seer. All right. So suddenly our attention and interest, our eye doesn't stay on the ball, it's moved over. Yeah. And now when it's moved over to this new object, yeah, we're missing something. We're starting, it's not the race is rigged, the starting point is rigged. Yeah. You're not starting where you are. You're starting as a product of a mental manufacturing. Yeah. So that's, there's a lot of importance that's before where you and I start as a mental idea. It's called us. Yeah. That's what we are. We are that which is before the mental idea. So to have that seemingly jumped over, and then the emphasis on the mental idea, is the addiction of selfing. Yeah, it's the mental addiction. Yeah, there's a lot of other addictions that are caused by that mental addiction, but it's let's say the original addiction is the mental addiction of nouns. Yeah. It doesn't leave a verb alone. It always puts a noun on it somewhere. Yeah. So if you have an understanding, when you see that, it may stop there and you'll actually see it, instead of falling right to sleep and taking yourself to be the mental idea. Yes. So here's an understanding. It's not the end all be all. It's like a crutch. The real freedom is from seeing or vision. Yeah, this is a view, but basically this vision in this experience of time is impaired. So we need an understanding, or sort of like a pair of glasses, so that the vision can have this little correction, see the activity, and not immediately fall for it. I'm that. Yes, that's describing me. No, it's describing a me. It's describing a you, but we're not the you or the me it's describing. Now, there's so much possibility before it. The possibilities get severely limited after it. As soon as there's a taking to be Paul, the possibilities get incredibly limited. And then they're all sort of stretched in time. So it's never like an immediate incredible okayness. It's the hope I will be okay, or a memory I was once okay. Yes, it's a robbery, really. It's just a robbery going on all day. And we're just pointing out, we don't want to cause any more scenes of the crime. We're just going over the scene of the crime. Yeah. With the hopes that we won't be at so many scenes of crime. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, this was your role in it. Not volitional, not volitional. Yeah. Because if it's volition, that thing that believes it does shit doesn't want to know it's doing this, because it would be unbearable. It's like the guilt of the Course in Miracles. Yeah. That feeling of I'm the one who separated from God, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Then it piles on unbelievably. It doesn't want to go there. Yeah. So you're not going to see it as it. It's not going to look, it's not. I mean, and I thought, practicing Buddhism and stuff like that, I didn't know these ideas, but after I knew these ideas, I was wondering why they were never triggered in the practicing of Buddhism and all the meditation.
I'm under the impression we lost Paul. We lost his video. And then we lost him. So I'm going to pause record until he returns. Paul?
Yes. Now it's good? Yeah, yeah. Sorry, somebody tried to call me and whatever. Yeah. So what were we talking about? Exactly. Nothing really. But so here's an understanding. This refuses to stop. Hold on. I'm going to shut it off. Yeah. This is an understanding with the hopes that it will allow the seeing not to be sort of directed into this little rabbit hole of the mental state. Yes. The understanding is just that. It's an aid. It's not a replacement for vision. You holding on to an understanding of non-duality is going to sink you sooner or later. It's a seeing, a vision. The glasses are there to correct the vision. In this case, the vision corrects itself, and then there's no need for glasses. Yes, unless you're in a position of like seat assignment, then you have a role to present this understanding. So I didn't get there through practicing. I didn't. Yeah, it didn't bring me to that before. It had me going to a conceptual before I thought I was going to arrive at. Yes, but the before is instantaneously now. There's no time involved. Yeah, so you can see whatever comes later, but you're not going to see what's before because you are before. Yes. So you can't apply what we apply to everything else. Oh, I want something, it's outside of myself, I'm going to go look for it. But the truth is not outside of us. Yeah. Yeah. So no volition. You're not going to learn how to stop something you never started. It's not going to work. I'm serious. Maybe you get an understanding of these activities, and then you will see them from your own perch. You will see them. Yeah. And that seeing will set you free, in a sense, from what? The bondage of self. Yeah. Selfing will be presented. The story will be presented. That mental state will go on as it goes on, but you won't be following its direction. Yes, there'll be it's sort of like when the dog doesn't want to go. It doesn't matter how much I call it a whistle, it's just sitting there. Yeah. So now that dog is established, it's abiding somewhere. I can't pull it all out by my orders or my commands or come in, you know, it's not going. Yeah. That's in a sense what happens. You have a sense of what you are, which is before all the activity that's implying what you're not. Yes. So there is a freedom from the bondage of self. It doesn't come for self or as self or through self. It's before self. That self that you want to be free is the bondage. That sense of you as a long-lasting, independent, separate thing is the activity of bondage. It's the bondage, the identification as you. Yeah. You're not a special you that's bound. All yous are bound because they're bound to an idea that's not true. Yeah. So the more you try to undo the knot as the knot, the tighter the knot becomes. Yes. And it's all that activity is happening because of a misunderstanding. Am I the knot or am I not? Ah, that was interesting. Am I the knot, K-N-O-T, or am I not, N-O-T? Yeah. You thought you caught me in some non-duality semantics. Ha ha, you didn't. So, yes. So there you go. If you have any questions, I'm happy to explore this point because it just became the most essential message. Yeah. What you are doesn't need to be chanted every day. You are that. Maybe you need a few examples. Yeah. But what you're not needs to be seen from where you are. It needs to be seen, or it's going to rob your nature and make it an experience. Yeah. It's going to rob your inherent condition and make it a goal. Yeah. It's going to rob. It's because it's going to take the being out of it. Yeah. It's going to take, I can become it. I once was it. Yeah. But it's taking the immediate being out of it or implying it's not there. Yes. And it's replacing it with a star-studded story of you, basically. Yeah. So, yep. Thank you. Thanks so much for this opportunity because I think a lot of us, there's so much beauty in the innocence, but that innocence is being misdirected. You're looking for what you are as what you're not. Yeah. And it's, you know, the only thing that the value in it is showing it. See, because in this weird experience, you get a feeling of what you are by seeing what you're not, really. You do, because you can't see what you are, but you get an intimation of what you are by the seeing of what you're not. Yeah. So something that you would hate to have really demonstrates the aspect of not you involved in it, like a resentment. Yeah. So when you see that it isn't your resentment, that resentment allows you to see what you're not. Yeah. And therefore it has great value. And so there's an intimation. And after a while, just like the head did it, the head's been constantly pointing, and then we've just taken to be a moon. Yeah. In this case, the pointing and seeing what you're not reinforces a true fact. Yeah. How beautiful is that? It doesn't make up a moon. There is a moon. Yeah. And therefore, the pointing isn't to the moon, it's to that. Seeing what you're not, and then there's the moon. Yeah. It's a weird way of getting there, but in time, there seems to be a need to get there. When you get there, there was no need, but when you're seemingly not there, there seems to be a need to get there. But when you get there, it tells you it's always been this way. So, yeah. So, anyone?
I have a question, Paul. It's Glenda. So I sort of just want to get clear about what you're saying for myself. I think I understand it. For example, like this afternoon, I was upset about a couple things, and the mind was racing. And I saw it racing, and it's an old pattern, but there was this wanting to get rid of it, to stop it. But from what you're saying right now, it's in understanding the activity that it is just old patterns arising, mind chatter arising, and there's no need to stop it. Just let it be. Is that what you're saying?
That's a result, but what we're saying is looking farther and seeing there's no Glenda who has those old patterns. Yes. Yeah. Because when you shared, there was 3 different points, and there was a Glenda implied by each point. Yes.
Okay.
We're just looking at, forget the difference of the 3 points, but there was the same Glenda that was being implied. We're saying, look at that. Yeah. And because the idea of Glenda is what's allowing a lot of weight to be distributed into what comes after. So if you take Glenda out of it, you travel lighter through heavy shit.
Right. Okay. I hear
Yeah.
you. Okay. Yeah. I get that now. Okay. Yep. Yeah.
Yes. So there you go. So have an understanding, because the seeing doesn't need correction. The understanding will correct something, and then the seeing will be very clear. You'll see selfing. Yeah, you will. Yes. And then after a while of seeing it, you realize there's no volition in it. And wherever you are, it's going to voice that it's the one there. Yeah, that's all. You're going to hear it claim like maybe like a peak or an epiphany will keep it quiet for a period of time, but usually it will wake up and go, I'm having an epiphany. Yeah. And therefore the epiphany seems to end as soon as you get there. Like the great party sucks when you arrive. The epiphany usually ends when you show up. Yeah. The you that you're not. Yes. It's like a period put on everything. And then the story starts, the interpretation starts. Yeah. Yeah. So just see Glenda, because, if you see the difference of meaning when it's yours and not yours, there's the traveling lighter. Remember that book, The Secret or something, The Law of Attraction? We could have, this is the secret. Yeah. The weight of my, my. With the loss of my, there's a losing of weight and heaviness. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's so key to the thoughts are arising, but I'm watching them as Glenda instead of just thoughts arising. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. See, Glenda wants to, because Glenda is always hoping that knowledge is going to set it free, but it becomes self-knowledge, which avails nothing, which is what we say in recovery. Yeah. So the self-knowledge in self-knowledge is called Glenda. So Glenda acquiring knowledge isn't going to free Glenda.
But it sneaks in there so quickly.
I know it does. So, but you're already home. So no matter how many times it sneaks in the home, you're already there. Yeah. Yeah, you're here completely. So you can see it sneak in. You can. You're not going to see yourself sneak in because you never leave. So there's no sneaking in for you. But for that, it's constantly sneaking in. Yeah, but now you'll see it from not where it begins, but for where we are. Yes, that's all that's really necessary. And then enough repetition will break the camel's back. Yes. It will, inevitably. Yeah. And then what Glenda had so much interest in, there'll be a loss of interest in Glenda. Yeah. Yeah. And then maybe the topics Glenda wanted to know may actually be sensed and felt. Yeah, the real prize in the crackerjack box. Yeah, you're in. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's glorious in its mundanity, just to be sort of chilled out. It is. It has a huge value, especially if you look around in the imaginary race. I mean, shit. Jesus Christ, don't they say that probably the greatest petri dish of all diseases of the body is stress? Yes. Does the body get stressed out? Yes, but what's really the stress factor is the mental state. Yes. Yeah. If the mental state is called you, it's the dominant player in this experience, obviously. Yeah. Like we have a statement in recovery: self, this feeling of being the doer, the thinker, the haver, the loser, the separate, long-lasting, independent thing. Yes. That self is what has defeated us. And then it says, all right, why are you in so much fear today? Isn't it because self-reliance has failed you? So what does reliance mean? It means to depend on, yes? So in most cases during the day, we're depending on what has defeated us. Yeah, if you look at it, this identification as self is what has defeated us. The fear is an effect of self-reliance. Reliance is depending on, one of the definitions. So we're relying on self, which is that which has defeated us. What an insane thing. Yeah. We're relying with the hopes, like that definition of insanity, with the hopes that I'm going to do the same thing as the same person, but expect different results, which is freaking insane. Yeah. 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 Try to get out of that as that which is in it. It's not going to happen. It really isn't. You may have some experiences because it wants you, it wants that activity to continue because it's a great camouflage. Yeah, so it will give hope and you'll have experiences. But as everyone, the biggest whining of all spiritual practices is, when is it going to stabilize? Yeah, it's not going to stabilize as an experience. It's not. Yeah. It'll stabilize before, but not experiences are jumbled up situations. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah. The freedom is not for the self, it's from it in a way. Yeah. Yeah. And the quickness of how you become seemingly self is so fast that most of us are trying to get out of self as self. Yeah. Where the only way out is realizing you're not in, to tell you the truth. All addictions are the mental state trying to get out of self as self, really. Yeah. So that it's trying to do itself out of the addiction of being the doer, think itself out of the addiction of being the thinker, experience itself in the addiction as being the experiencer. Yes. That's been addressed many times before. You can't look for the solution from that which is producing the problem. Yes, it's not going to work. So here's some simple warnings. The mental state, its drive is to claim. It's very, very fast. And what it does is it reacts to verbing with a noun. Yeah. And then it changes the event and it interprets it noun first. So now the noun is doing everything. Yet, in fact, let's say you look at awareness or seeing, and then the seer. The seer is completely dependent or relying on the seeing. Yeah. Yet the seeing has no reliance on the seer. Yeah. Yet how we live is based on the seer, not the seeing. We're listening all day to the seer having the prominent position, and the seeing is like, what, you know? Yet the seeing is completely essential for this idea of the seer, yet is completely unnecessary for seeing. Yeah. Doesn't that feel like something's not in balance? Yeah. Something's off. And maybe if that something is off at such a beginning point, it's going to echo through everything else, isn't it? It's going to echo through all the others because it's going to be a compounding of the mistake over and over again. To the point where, in a way, we need to rely on an understanding and then rely on the seeing. Because right now, there's not enough seeing and too much seer. Yeah. So let's have an understanding about the seer and then return to reliance on the seeing. Yeah. There's no you relying on the seeing. There's a reliance on the seeing. Yeah. It's trustworthy. It's, yeah. Yeah. And then see how it shakes out in this story of Paul and Glenda. Maybe you'll find that you travel lighter in spite of yourself, really. Yeah. I've been traveling so much lighter and I don't work at it at all. I used to work at it a lot. And I was traveling heavy about not traveling light enough. Yeah. You know, or more or something. Now I have no interest in you know, yeah. So I can go on about it, but it doesn't matter. There has been certain conclusions that have happened that have not needed any debate or referrals or advancement. Yeah, they ended a lot of stuff. And I'm here just to share with you that which, when all that stuff happened, it brought about a seeing. And to me, here it is, just sharing it with you. Because, you know, I remember when I came out of recovery, after we did the website and started speaking at spiritual groups, I could see the spiritual addiction of this noun being asserted into this verb. Yeah. I could see it. I could see the robbery. And it's compelled me to go places to share, because at first I could care less about spiritual people. You know, I was more interested in addicts and alcoholics. But then I realized, Jesus, the payoff cost ratio for spiritual seekers is very bad. At least there's a payoff with drugs. So I don't know. I just felt like I saw something. I'm not saying you're in it or not, but I think it's good to know that it's there. Yeah. This activity, because it could be working its little number on you. Yeah. Or as you, really. So point it out, keep pointing it out, and keep pointing it out. Yeah. But I hope, really, you have to, this volition is like the oil of the selfing engine. Yeah. This idea that you're the doer, that there was choice, and then anything that you come to see is blinded with that volition. Because a lot of shit, if it was based on you, you don't want to see it. Yeah. Yes. The same thing with the Course in Miracles. Why this whole world is appearing is because we didn't want to see the guilt from the separation that we felt we did from the Godhead. So we're making up a whole world to try to hide it, to dump it on others. to be able to wear the innocent mask by having crazy perpetrators in the world and getting a little shine of, well, I'm not that bad. Yes, that's an absurd length. Yeah. But see, that sense of volition that you did something hides clarity about it. It does. Yeah. Because there's a lot of shit that we know that we don't want to know as the mental state. We do, because it has volition sewn into it. You did it. Yeah. Yes. So you got to get clear. This is mechanical. It has nothing to do with volition. You didn't set out on a course to, do this every day, all day. It's just happening. It's an activity. Yeah. And I find the real freedom is when the volition is, that curtain of volition is opened and you just see it for what it is. Yeah. Yeah. So don't wait for Glenda. Don't wait for Glenda. Don't wait for Paul. Don't wait. Yeah. When I was out there using drugs and everything, if I felt I had wronged somebody, I would move to another state not to run into them. Yes. The amount of pride I had about, reverse pride about, I did all this shit. And my only conclusion was to avoid it at all costs. Yeah. But I got into recovery and I realized something had done through me what I would never do by myself, some energy, some addiction. And it gave me the balls to face up to shit because I could see through that iron curtain of volition by not seeing that I was dancing with a gorilla. I was going to stop when the gorilla wanted to stop. And now I had the balls to look at what was going on. When I thought it was all about me, I didn't want to see what I knew. Yeah. The same thing with this. People do not want to understand selfing because then they believe they've been doing it this whole time. Fuck, that's insane. Yeah. That's another fucking lead rock on me in the water of life, the ocean of life. But no, you can take those blinders off because it's mechanical. It has nothing to do with you in a sense. Yes. Then you can see it for what it is. But this volition hides it, this feeling that we're the doer really, really hides a lot of the manufacturing. Yeah, because you just don't want to look at it. Yeah. Yeah. I try to keep reinforcing that. It has nothing to do with volition. Yeah. This isn't something Paul or Glenda chose to do. And it's necessary of Paul and Glenda not to choose to do it. No, that would be the emphasis on Paul and Glenda. Yeah, this is mechanical. It's of a mental nature. Yeah, and it lives as an interpretation at the expense of life. Yeah, just its nature. It's like that snake bites you if you're nice to it or not, because it's a snake. This is its nature. Yeah. You introduce it to something by being conscious and it claims it and turns it into a story. No. Yeah. And you get beholden to that story because it seemed to be yours. And therefore you don't want to see a lot of shit. I meet a lot of people. And one of the things I used to always say, what is it that you don't want to know? So someone was saying, well, I don't know, this girlfriend. I said, do you know if you want to be with her or not? What is it you don't want to know? Because the head's going, well, she's got money or whatever. So yes, let's keep it all obscure because I got an agenda to meet. Yeah. I don't want a clarity. Yeah. Because it may go against this idea of Paul, me. Once you drop down and go, right, I know, yes, I don't really want to be with her. There you go. Yeah. Okay, so now if you choose to continue to be with her, at least you'll be fucking accountable. You won't whine and bitch, and they definitely won't call me back because now you knew, what you thought you didn't know. So freaking, it's like growing up in a way. Yeah. I found when there was an admitting that I was a fraud, I stopped feeling like one all day. When I felt like, I did not want to be a fraud, so I felt like one all day. Finally, there was a knowing that which I already knew, that I'm fraudulent, and there was a peace there. Yeah. Yes. That peace is not available to Glenda or Paul. It won't go there. It won't. Yeah. Life would have to take it kicking and dragging. It may get there, but usually, just look at the course. Look at what you're believing that you did something that you never did, seem to have done. This whole dreaming of a world is also supposedly based on the guilt we feel of separating from God. Yes, I think that's the course's take. I don't think it's changed since I last read it 20 years ago. Yeah, the whole thing is revolving around guilt. Where does guilt come from? Volition. Yes, you've done something that you didn't have to do, or you shouldn't have done. It's all based on this premise that you and I are a long-lasting, independent, separate thing. Are we or not? Yeah. Yeah. So.
Connie has her hand up.
Who? Oh, Connie. Yes, Connie, come on in, honey.
Hey, Paul. So, so going back to the vernacular of A Course in Miracles, where it talks about there's two thought systems, and they talk about the thought system of the Holy Spirit and the thought system of the ego. But it's also been said that there is no deciders. There's just two thought systems.
Yes.
That's what we're saying, isn't that not?
In one way, if you look at it in that Course in Miracle way, I like that very much, because you're being directed by thoughts. You're not having thoughts. Yes?
Right.
Yeah. You're not the director of all thoughts as the thinker. You're being directed by thoughts. Yeah? So
Right.
the Holy Spirit steps in, takes the same information that the mental state is using to reinforce the story, and comes up with a whole different take on the same information. You try it on, see which fits better. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. So to me, the Holy Spirit is just that. It's going to interpret the information just like the mental state is, but it's going to come to completely different endpoints. Yes. It's going to see everything differently than the mental state sees it. Instead of wasting a lot of time trying to change the mental state, how it sees things, you just shift and you get upgraded. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's like in recovery, call it the higher power. It's the same premise. It doesn't go into great detail like the Holy Spirit in the Course, but it's basically that. Yeah. The thoughts aren't the problem. It's the Maya of the thoughts. Yeah. It's this ownership of being the doer of shit we have nothing really to do with. So now the same thoughts held by grabbed and then collated by some other place like Holy Spirit produce different results. Yes, the exact same thoughts. Now a lot of the thoughts produce a lot of comedy.
Right.
Yeah, under the tutelage of the Holy Spirit. It becomes Comedy Central. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's great relief there, where it used to be a huge burden, all these serious thoughts. You just laugh a lot. It's incredible how serious we take ourselves. Based on that, we're on a collision course with everyone else taking themselves seriously. Yeah, And just remember, self can't get out of self, and see if that's what's actually happening. Yeah. And then you see that. Yeah. And that reveals a lot. Yeah. Yeah. And then you're a prime customer for guidance from the Holy Spirit. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. What a failed system can show you, it's failed. What an incredible revelation to realize there's a dependency on that which that has defeated you. Incredible. Yeah. Really. I mean, just stay there and just what you'll see, the dynamic of power will shift for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you to remind me of the Holy Spirit thing. Yeah. Anyone else, son?
I don't see any hand yet.
It's time. Oh, we got some.
Your video stopped again.
I know. Every time I touch the screen, something goes off. It's okay. I'll be back. Here we go. Yeah. What does that show me? I shouldn't have touched the screen. Let me see if that's right. Touching the screen again. No. Don't believe the story. You know, old dogs can't learn new tricks. They can learn new tricks.
So I'm on lesson 338. I can be affected only by my thoughts with A Course in Miracles. And it says if we got this one thought, it's literally salvation for the whole world. And I just was curious on your take on that, how you specifically would interpret that lesson, since I'm on it today and no one else is raising their hand.
Why don't you read it again? What's the one thought you said?
Lesson 338, I am affected only by my thoughts. It says it needs but this to let salvation come to all the world. For in a single thought.
Oh, remember that he has my in front of there, in front of the thoughts, right?
Not in this one. It just says I'm affected only by, oh yeah, it does say my thoughts.
Well, exactly. So there you go.
So that's the secret, is just the my word?
Yes, for sure. And what's affected by thoughts isn't you. Yes. What you are isn't affected by thoughts. Yeah. So yeah, the my is important. When you hear that, you think it's thoughts, but it says my. I am affected by my thoughts. Yes. Yeah. Because how is the thinker pictured? So my thought means I'm the thinker. Yes. Yes. Let's just explore this a second. All right. So I'm the thinker. Yeah. Well, how is the thinker pictured? As a body, yes?
For me, I don't pick, the thoughts just come in and then they're believed or not.
But just follow this. My thoughts. Yes, that's what it said. My thoughts. Yes?
It's like a trick question because it isn't my thought. There's just thoughts that come in and then they're either believed or not.
I know, but we're looking at the title of that lesson. Did it say my thoughts are affecting me?
Yeah, it said, I am affected only by my thoughts.
Yes. So my implies thinker. Yes.
That I'm the one thinking these thoughts.
Like these are my children means I sired these children. Yes, in a way. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And how is the thinker pictured in the head? As you, a body. Yes. Okay. So now let's go to another statement in the Course in Miracles. You and I are the dreaming of the dream. We forget that we're dreaming. Let's say that forgetfulness is reinforced or seemingly taken to be true by an identification as a body. Yes. So you and I are the dreaming of the dreaming. It hasn't said you and I as a body is the dreaming of the dreaming. You and I as what we are the dreaming of the dream. We forget that. Okay, so now, and in that forgetfulness, to me, how that forgetfulness is pictured is you as a body. Yeah. So now you've forgotten that you're the dreaming and you're taking yourself to be the dreamt. Yes. Just follow this. All right. So there's the dreamt. And now everything I'm dreaming, thoughts, now has the ability to affect me as the dreamt. Now read what the title of that lesson was again, and just see how it fits in that diagnosis.
I am affected only by my thoughts.
Yes. All right. So how is that the I that's affected by thoughts is the dreamt? Yes. The dreamt gets affected by thoughts. Yes. Not talking about the I of the I am, the I that of the I we're not. Yes. Going through this process, you and I are the dreaming of the dream. We forget that. Yeah. And now in that forgetfulness, and what I add is that's the act of being identified as the dreamt. Yeah. The dreaming forgets that it's the dreaming by being in the act of identified as the dreamt. Yeah. We now give everything we're dreaming, thoughts, everything else, yes, the power to affect us. You just said it right there. Yeah. That lesson
Seems like
it
seems like the Course in this part is actually reinforcing that we're the dreamt.
It's talking about that's what gets affected is the dreamt. Yes. The dreaming is sort of like the sky. The sky doesn't get affected by the clouds that are appearing in it. Yes. The dreamt would be the sky taking itself to be a cloud. Now the cloud that we're taking ourselves to be could be affected by the other clouds. We'd be getting moved to where we don't want to go, or maybe blocked off from the sun by another cloud. Yes. So, but the sky doesn't get affected by anything. But there's an identification that's occurring that's allowing us to be affected by something. Yes. So the sky seemingly forgets it's the sky by identifying as a cloud. Now all clouds have the ability to affect me as a cloud. Yes. It's the same feeling. It's the same idea in there, in all those statements. Yeah. The emphasis is on the my. It didn't have to say my. It could have said thoughts. Yes. So the my is important because the my is implying something very important, which is the identification as the being the thinker, and the thinker is pictured as a body, and what gets affected here, yes, is the body. Yes. Yes. So there you go. Yeah.
We have 3 minutes left.
Yeah. That's a beautiful statement, that one. It's a diagnosis of every day here, which is the dreaming, seemingly, it appears to it that it's forgotten. Yeah, because now it's trying to remember as the dreamt. Yeah, being the dreaming, trying to remember itself as the dreamt is reinforcing the dreamt. Yeah. And in this condition, everything I'm dreaming now has the ability to affect me, whereas the dreaming, it has no ability to affect me. Yes. but as the dreamt, it now has an ability to affect me. That's interesting, isn't it? And there's lesson 335. My thoughts open me up to be affected. Yeah, because there would be no ownership, obviously, with spirit, but this identification, yeah, as the doer, yeah, volition, all this bullshit is what leads this to occur. My thought can ruin your day. A thought can't. A thought cannot ruin your day, but my thought can. Yeah. Your thoughts aren't ruining my day. Yeah. They're not. Yeah. My thoughts can ruin the day. Yeah. Because as soon as I hold them as mine, those thoughts are attacking the picture I'm held as, which is Paul. And Paul is a many splendid, flat, fragile thing. He's tiptoeing on a lot of different conditions, and it's trying to get them all balanced so that it can be okay. Now the thoughts are attacking that little thing like asteroids. Yes. My. Yeah. I want relief, but I want relief as the dreamt instead of relief from the dreamt. Yes. Relief as the dreamt isn't going to last. And there'll be more demand and more demand. And it can actually turn into an addiction in a way. Yeah. The relief from the dreamt is readily available because you're not the dreamt. Yes. So, yeah. The traveling lighter is diminishing the effects that relationship with thoughts and actions and feelings used to bring. When they all were held as mine, they had incredible ability to affect a lot. Yeah. Now that my is weakened, they're not affecting as much as they used to. Yeah. I'm not driven to act out like I used to by thought. I would say I'm not driven by thought at all when it comes to acting out. Yeah. Where before I was driven by thought to act out a lot. Yes. There's the relief. It's not no thoughts. The release is they're not mine. That's just the way it is. Yeah. So I'm speaking from a relief. I'm speaking from a relief. That's what I'm putting out. I'm putting out how I see it from relief from it. That's what I'm doing to the best of my inabilities, really. Yeah. So just putting it out there. Hopefully, for some, the shoe will fit now. It may fit later. It doesn't matter to me. My idea of success isn't how many shoes fit or how many shoes are sold. I could care less. My end of my seed assignment is just putting it out. Yeah. That's why I decided to come to spiritual awakening, because I saw it as a possibility to put this out and meet lovely people now. And I've been correct on both ends. Yeah. I've met lovely people and I have a chance to put it out. Yeah. Yeah. I think that took up the 3 minutes. We can say goodbye now.
We could, but Patrick's had his hand up for a little bit. So if you're willing to stay.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, perfect. Patrick?
Oh, hi, how are you? I've got, I'm kind of new to this, so I've got a good naive question, so I don't think I'll hold you too much longer, probably. I had kind of, first kind of, really kind of totally satisfying Christmas holiday and vacation from work that I've had in, I don't know, as long as I can remember. And when I went into work this morning, we had meeting after meeting all day, essentially. And I was kind of in awe in that I was thinking, God, who are these people? I feel like I'm actually seeing them instead of how I imagine people to be. I tend to kind of, or I have kind of filled them out with my imagination. And by about 3:30 or so, though, I'm feeling good because I feel like I'm seeing things and so forth. And then slowly they turn into like character things with vices and virtues and executive reason and, and volition and all of these attributes. And then I realize I'm not seeing them at all. I'm seeing my imagining, and I'm really getting irritated. And I'm becoming a kind of body self, this kind of, and all of these assumptions and ideas get all kicked up around that. It's like, kind of rights and expectations and protocol and all this stuff. And suddenly I'm like a blind man. And I went home, got in the car. I had this wonderful vacation. I went home, got in the car, and I'm ashamed of myself. Nothing had happened. Nobody had said anything. But boy, all that volition, all that responsibility, Patrick is so important. It's all of that stuff. Patrick is so central. Boy, all of that stuff comes back so hard after kind of this lovely period of kind of watching it dance off slowly day after day. And I know this is a question people ask, transitioning from relative isolation and relative bliss to work. But I just thought I'd just kick that out there and see what your thoughts are.
Well, did you get fired today?
No, no.
Well, you faced life successfully. Yeah. Maybe a year ago, you would have put your foot up in your mouth and got a whole big situation. So, yeah.
Not unlikely.
You know what I mean? So another role this head likes to play is the critic, the critiquing it. The last one you want to listen to about how you're doing is that. Yeah, really. So that's why in Zen, the highest form of mind is don't know, where the head is constantly striving to know. Yeah. So, hey, listen, you had an incredible vacation. That's a pretty good deal for one little fucking observational tweakiness in an afternoon. Hey, if that ratio could stabilize, that would be awesome. Yeah. So there you go. That's my experience here. Things just get lighter. Yeah.
Thank you.
And the thing is, the volition, again, obviously, the whole interpretation's based on volition, because if you weren't the doer, the chooser, whose life would it be anyway? Its whole premise is based on this idea. And it's like the golden calf, so to speak. And doesn't like to be broached. It doesn't like to be brought about and looked into. But in fact, at least this one activity of the mental states, forecasting, interpreting, reviewing, presenting, all that, you could be sure of one thing: you're not doing it. Yes, which is a great bit of news. Yeah, you're not doing it. Yeah. Therefore, this idea that your condition has to be based on its condition. It has to stop doing it for me to be okay is a bad deal. Yeah. You're okay while it's doing it. Yes. Yes. It's just like here, there's 4, 8, 12, 16 squares. Yeah. Let's say the selfing in the past used to have 12 of the 16 squares. Now it's down to 4. Yes. Yeah. What more do you want? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on to something. You've been introduced to something that's worth its salt. It can bring about a relaxed change that eclipses a lot of thought and effort. Yeah. Without much thought or effort. Just letting the information land and see what it does. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a dualistic thing. everything was great, then it wasn't. But there's going to be a shift in the power distribution of that, yes, where there'll be an acceptance of this up and down, and there'll be more resting, not in the ups and then getting bummed out when the downs reappear, but in something underneath both movements. Yeah, you'll just settle in there, and you won't be so. I'm not looking for fireworks in the sky every day. I'm not. My day is just basically just goes on. Yeah, it's just here I was sitting before. It was somewhat light. Now it's completely dark. Yeah. I felt so much better when it was light. Now it's dark. I should have No, you just fucking, there's an acceptance of light, acceptance of dark, acceptance of fucking feeling great, acceptance of not feeling that great. Because they're not about you, and essentially. That's the beauty of the message. Yeah. Your condition is not a volatile condition. Your inherent condition is always available at all times. It's the only aspect that's reliable in this activity here. Yeah. And thank God you're it. That's the beauty of it. Yeah. You're it. Yeah. You don't have to try to rely on it. You're it. You lose interest in that which thinks it has to rely or it's not relying. And then you live in that reliance, and it's sound, and you feel assured that inherently all's well. Yeah. It isn't thy will be done, please. Thy will is done. Yeah. It's just an observation. You're in good hands. Yeah. The action figure needs some consoling at times. It's worried. Its whole basis as a thing is it's afraid it's not going to get what it wants or lose what it has. Yeah. And all the anxiety is triggered by those two propositions, with all the weight of their conclusion or their commencement based on you. Yeah. And that's what's the unreliable aspect of it. We're not reliable. Yeah, we're relying on that which has defeated us. It's fucking insane. So, yeah. Thanks, bro. It's nice to see you, Patrick. Yes. Can you hear me still? Yeah. All right. We're going to say goodbye, eh?
Yes, good night. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome, Patrick. I'm happy to see you again. Yeah.
Thank you.
Happy to see Victoria. She's still here. Yeah. Yes. On having never left. Yeah. Yes. You're still here. How's that? On having never left. That's the answer. It's not, I worked really hard to get here. No, I'm here because it's based on having never left. So that doesn't sound like a heroic journey. Yes, it doesn't. It doesn't have much meat on that bone. You're just here because you can't be anywhere else. But I thought the here should look different than the here I think it looks like. Well, yeah, lose interest in that and everything is here. Nothing escapes the here and now. This simplicity is sound. It's very sound. It is. Yeah, it will hear the yodeling and it won't let it be turned into tons of shit. You'll just hear the yapping and you're just, yeah. You know, they're out to get you. Yeah? Oh yeah, let me tell you. Yeah. All right, what should I do? Oh, fucking slash their tires. Whatever. Yeah. You just it's like watching a movie and someone really irritates another person in the show you're watching. You don't get up and rush, get in your car and drive away to try to do something. You realize it's not about you. This is fucking activity going on. Yeah, let me get him. You know, no, that's Stanley on the show. I don't give a shit what Stanley's going through. Yeah, you don't see that we're in a show, you know, where people, it's so weird. People are watching a show about end times and they're in the end times. They have no idea that this could be it. They're watching a documentary about it could be. This head is constantly excluding us from the living. Yes. You're not here yet. Yes, you are. All of you completely is here. I got to go back. No one left behind. No one's been left behind. There's no behind to be left in. Yeah, we're here. Your fingers on the pulse. You can see blue is blue, red is red. Yes. You can see what is of Stanley and what is not of Stanley. And be very clear, you're not Stanley. Yeah. Yeah. Have a great night, you know, or not. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. When all said and done, it doesn't matter the ups and downs, really. They're just the appearances of things. I know when they're down, it sucks. And when it's up, you'd like it to last. But the fact is, you don't really have much say in it, yeah? So with all this movement, you know, there can be a sense of the space of it all, which brings a levity to that which may seem very serious, yeah? Yeah. You're not going to get levity out of seriousness. It's got to be brought to the seriousness, yeah? Yeah, so. Hey, thanks. I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. Saina. She's running the whole show. Kana, nice to see you, Connie. Connie. We got Patrick. Yeah, I got that right. We got George. Nice to see you, George. George is, yeah. Jacqueline, thank you so much, Jacqueline, for staying with us. I know it must be difficult. But yeah, we got Victoria. Nice to see Victoria again. We got Anne. I can barely see her. Nice to see you, Anne. I see some waving. We got William L down there. We got Sue K. She's very familiar with me. We got Andy. Nice to see you, Andy, or not see you. Oh, there he is. He's appeared. We got some numbers and other things. So I can't move from this page if there's another one. I'm sort of stuck. Hey, thanks everyone. Thanks for having us today. And we'll see you soon, I hope. Glenda, everyone, adios.